Hello, everyone. My name is Stacey Yvonne. I'm with the CherryPicks, and I'm here to talk about this wonderful movie, Newt. And it's so funny because I love that this is a movie that, on the surface, it looks like it's about superficial people kind of going through this very specific thing, but really it is very layered and very nuanced, and there's a lot going on. I want to kind of go one by one and talk about these characters. I want to start with you, Anna. Specifically, Jill seems to kind of be riding a line between faking it to make it and just plain faking it. I
Mhm.
want to talk to you about what role sharing her life kind of plays in her life, and does she need it more than it needs her?
The fact that she's sharing her life and that she's like a
Mhm.
podcaster. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is one of the first things that she's really been successful at. She likes doing it. She's having fun doing it. I do think she's becoming obsessed with doing it. Obviously, we see that from the very beginning scene after she is having sex with her husband. She's deciding to record all of it down. But it's becoming kind of a lifeline for her because I do think that there's some internal struggle and conflict going on that's revealed at the end or towards the middle of the film that you get to see the true side of her. I think that this is sort of becoming her identity, and I wanted to start somewhere with the character where you were like, oh my God, is this the person that we're gonna like, is she
Right.
okay? Like she's crazy. We want maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to throttle her. I don't know. But then you start to understand why she is seeming to fake it to make it because she's conflicted and people
Mhm.
deal with inner conflict and turmoil. She's confused as she wants to be a mother or not, which is a huge decision for a woman, especially a woman who's 40.
Mhm.
And so I think that she's using it as a lifeline to sort of survive. And she's getting free shit, you know what I mean? She's throwing a party for a friend, all this surface stuff for her friends. It's all this surface stuff is really seemingly rewarding. So yeah, it's become her life. So yeah, it's a majorly important part.
There is a lot about kind of redefining womanhood, because it used to be, you being a woman was having children, being a mother, that and full stop, and that was kind of it. And now it was like, oh, I can kind of define my womanhood by these successes and by being a provider, where it wasn't kind of that before. It kind of leads me seamlessly into Lucy's character with Penn. Penn's storyline is really a wonderful look at the possible disconnects that can happen specifically between like a birthing parent and a non-birthing parent. There's a comment that's made where she says her body's not her own, but it kind of belongs to the baby. Lucy, I know you're a parent yourself, and as a mother, were you able to kind of draw on any personal experiences with that? And did you feel any kind of like catharsis on being able to kind of voice some of those concerns that are kind of unmentionable?
Yeah, I mean, when I read Deena's script, I sadly related to absolutely everything and all of it. And it's a, you enter into sort of parenthood, motherhood, and it's nothing prepares you for it. And your body isn't your own. And you sort of think it's going to be a couple of months and you'll snap back and be the same person that you were, but it's never the same. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful different thing, but it's never the same. So I really understood the idea of this woman being out of place, and she's out of place anyway at this party. They're not really her friends, but she's just coming. Her brain is somewhere else, and
Right.
as it is, as a parent, it always is. You're always worrying and thinking about your kids all the time, but especially a new baby that you've left for the first time, and she what I like with working with Deena when we were talking about it is that she's sort of quite an unsympathetic character. She's sort of, no one really likes her and she doesn't like them. And so she's sort of kind of snarky and a bit of a downer at the party. But with what we talked about, and I'm really happy that this like little moments ended up in the film, that she's not a bad person and she's not boring. She's just, these aren't her friends. And I think we can all relate to being somewhere where you're like, this isn't my tribe and no one gets me. And I'm actually fantastic, but I'm just not that fantastic with these people. And like they bring out the worst in her. And so I like that there were sort of glimmers of moments where you thought, there's a version that, you know, she'd be a lot of fun, but not at this party.
Well, you know, George's character portrayed as like, oh, he's not necessarily the bad guy, but there is that kind of disconnect because he's like, oh, well, how long is this going to last? I've waited so long. And there's something in the back of, you know, everyone's mind where it's like, she's carried this baby for 10 months. You know, like, what do you mean you waited so long?
Yeah.
But, and I kind of want to ask you too, Deena, like, did this kind of come from a personal experience, or what kind of brought that out where you're like, I got to write this into something, this experience?
Yeah. Well, you know, this is all takes place at an unplug party. And so I really did, when I was 6 months postpartum, attend a party where I was walking in and they immediately like, put your phone in the box. And I was like, over my dead body.
Right.
Like, so I think that kind of just made me think about, you know, kind of, it was a great kind of place to start from, where our dependency is on technology. But it also, just in terms of like your relationship with your significant other postpartum, I think I was talking to a friend the other day where it was like the doctor will tell you afterwards, like, okay, you got 6 weeks and then you can get intimate again. And for women, like, I'm sorry, did you say 6 years? You said 6 years, right? No, like our body goes through, like Lucy was saying, so much change. And you really do what, like Lucy said, is true. You think like, I'm just gonna like be me, but like mom me, like super mom me. And you're forever changed and your body does not cooperate anymore in a lot of things. So I think that's relatable for not only postpartum women, just like relationships in general, when one partner is just like so ready and always ready for sex, and the other one's like, you need to chillax.
Right.
And I think for new moms, it's like, that's just like the last thing on your mind. You're just trying to take care of this other thing that is so dependent on you, that when somebody else needs something from you, you're like, get in line. And you're like at the bottom or the back of the line, you know?
Well, you know, it's like, this is the country where a stitch for daddy was a thing until very, very recently, far too recently. And so I'm just like, all of it to the back of the line for me.
Exactly.
So yeah, I really appreciated that part of it. I want to talk about Mo, Tawny, and well, just in general, I loved that character, and I love that she was so kind of reserved, but she definitely kind of had this punk rock to her. And I was waiting. I was like, I know she's gonna sing in this. I'm waiting for it. And I love, because I know you're a musician, and I was waiting for it. And so I was so excited that we got to hear you sing Make No Plans with Ignacio. And I love that it was so relevant. The lyrics in it, where you were like, you know, making the check out to cash and pretending so that we can both save face. It was just so lovely. Was the song made for the movie? And can you just kind of tell us a little bit about how it came about?
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for not asking me about motherhood because I don't know anything about it. I did just recently learn how to take care of a cast iron pan properly, so I'm really proud of
Listen,
that. That's how I am
you
a
got to
parent.
season it. I got it.
That is my child. No, when I read Deena's wonderful script, you know, originally Mo was not a musician at the time, and Ignacio's character Logan was. And the first thing I said to Deena is I was like, I don't know that I can be in a movie where like my ex is the musician and I'm a square. Like I think that will actually kill me. So I was like, can we flip? Can I play Logan? Can we just like flip the genders? And she was like, let me think about that. And then because Deena's great, Deena was like, why don't we give you guys this like musical past together that she's not in anymore? And I was like, oh, that's even better. Because then there's like this tension of I used to be this cool punk rock person. And now I'm like kind of this government, like, is she like a policy wonk? Like it's sort of unclear how far she's swung the other way. Like, is she completely square and she just like edged it up to come back to this party so that she wouldn't look like, so different than how her friends and her ex remember her? I don't know. So kind of playing with that like tension of like people don't really see me the way I want them to was very fun for her. And yeah, Deena asked me to write the song, which I was so honored to do. Um, and I really just wanted to, when I started to write it, I was like, how can I make like the least corny, how can I make like my least corny take on like a shallow type, like you just want like a swelling vocal duet of these people that are kind of like, they have tension and they're not really together, but they used to be. And I wrote something originally that I think was like a little more sophisticated. And then I thought to myself, wait, these people wrote this when they were in their 20s, when they were in love, when they thought like nothing matters but today. Like this isn't a 40-year-old person writing a rock song. This is a 20-year-old idiot who's like living on bagels and doesn't know how they're going to get their gear from gig to gig. So I was like, oh, it needs to be way angstier. So that's the version we ended up with, and I'm so happy to have gotten to sing it in the film.
It was so lovely, and it really did kind of take me back to those days of just being that person. And it's like, oh, standing room only, not a problem.
Oh,
Let's
love
do
it.
it. It was
Prefer to stand.
fantastic.
Hate to sit down. I hate my seat
Exactly.
to be
Seats,
happy.
what?
Just very
Oh
young,
my,
all of us.
right. So, Natasha, or should I say Chef Sasha, I want to talk about the strains of cannabis. And I want to know, was that something that, were you able to kind of come up with some of those? Did those come directly from Deena? Did you kind of work together? And were there any strains that didn't make the final cut that you loved?
I mean, well, first of all, I want to say I did not know that, Tawny. That's so cool that Deena reversed the roles or, like was so open to that. But it does sort of speak to my experience too. I mean, Deena was just like, whatever you want to say, like, I would throw some stuff out and she would like, okay, I like that, like she was just like so open and so collaborative. And I think that, just especially in a comedy situation, that's just how I like to work. And it was just really a great experience, to be able to feel funny and valued and just like open to pitch whatever. So I thought that was fun. But yes, Deena kind of let me come up with strains that sounded like my vagina. So
I was going to say, did you have any that maybe didn't make the cut, that or any that really stuck out for you?
I have not seen the cut yet, so I don't know what made it. Maybe
You-
you can cut that part out. Deena, why don't you tell them what your favorites were?
I don't want to give it away for people who will come and see the film, but there is a theme, Natasha, like vaginal theme. Yeah, a vaginal theme. There were I mean, Natasha is a comedic genius, so plenty of things end up on the cutting room floor. She gave us much comedy gold, but the path we ended up going with her delivery just fit so perfectly. So I don't want to say what we went with. You'll just know that it's vaginally themed. Says enough.
And they are truly
Like
fantastic.
podcast.
Yes. I will say the delivery and the timing and just the stone face, like the sincerity with which they were said, they would have had to cut so many times on me because they're like, just get out of the frame because we cannot get this day done. It was absolutely hilarious, and I can't wait for more people to see it. Deena, overall, I know that this is a comedy, but like I said, you touched on so many different topics and themes. At the end of the day, what conversations do you want to be started from the audience after they see this movie?
Yeah, I mean, my hope was, I think, our dependency on technology, kind of what I was alluding to earlier. I think after the pandemic, it just kind of magnified for me how much we really rely on all forms of technology. And, when you sit down at the dinner table at a restaurant, they have that QR code. You have to scan that to get your menu now. So you're immediately on a cell phone. You walk down the street, people are like this. And it's how we communicate with each other. So I think I just was hoping that we could all kind of take stock of if there's any room for us to take a little more room from uh, from our phones and just connect with people. During the pandemic, we weren't able to like be with each other, and it just really, I think, magnified like, wow, we need human connection, we need human touch, and I think putting it in this kind of setting allows us to also just talk about the importance of every day and every moment and to cherish it. And I think the older I get, the more that really resonates as well, is that you just have to cherish your time. And I'm always really drawn to relationships and kind of exploring those. So I think if anybody can kind of just walk away with this and think, wow, I should call my mom and tell her I love her, or this is sounding very cheesy, but that really is that we can just kind of take stock of our life and live every day as if it was your last, and maybe take a little break from your phone every now and then.
Mhm. Well, I absolutely love that. I think it's perfect. I think this movie is so much fun, but like I said, it just really kind of resonates with you. And it's an absolutely great time with fantastic talent. Every performance, Stephen Guarino and Malik Pancholi are
Yeah.
fabulous together. And of course, we love Justin Bartha always. And like I said, George and Ignacio are fantastic, plus this wonderful cast of wonderful women. Thank you so much, ladies, for taking time to talk with me. And yes, I wish you nothing but the best.